Hey everyone, and welcome to another one of our videos. Today we have a pretty simple one for you. It is how to change a battery on a Nissan Xterra. So this should apply to any Nissan Xterra made from 2005 to 2015, the entire second generation. All of these trucks use a Group 35 battery. There's some other comparables out there that you can replace them with, but I've always used a Group 35. And the reason you want to replace it generally is because the battery is dying. Maybe because it's leaking or something else as well. But in my case, I've had this Odyssey battery here for 9 years. This thing's lasted for 9 years in Arizona heat, Arizona summers, and it's finally kicked the bucket. So I'm going to show you how to replace it. Like I said, super simple. All you're going to need is a 10mm socket and ratchet, or you can also get by with a 10mm wrench. And essentially, all you need to do is, to start, you're going to want to take off these brackets, or take off this bracket, I should say. To do that, you take loose the nuts on the top. And essentially that post that's dropping down from underneath it, going down to the truck, is a J-hook. So as you loosen these guys, you're allowing the J-hook to drop out of a hole. And you should be able to, fairly shortly, take the bracket that secures the battery down off. So that's the first step in removing the battery. One thing I want to mention before I go any further in the video, make sure that whenever you are loosening the battery brackets, whenever you're touching the terminals, anything like that, that you don't bridge the positive terminal to anywhere else on the vehicle. That will cause sparks to happen, a short to happen. It's not good. You can hurt yourself, you can hurt your vehicle, so be very careful of that. If you want to completely avoid that entirely, you can take the negative battery terminal off, and as long as you don't short the positive to the negative directly, you'll be okay. What I normally do is take off the terminal and wrap it in some tape. If at all possible, that's what I do. In this case, I don't have any tape handy, so I'm going my old-fashioned way. So, the bracket is now loose. I just took the nut off, set it aside over here. Essentially, all you need to do now is lift the bracket up and out of the way, and each one of these J-hooks, you can basically take, let it drop down a little bit, turn it 90 degrees, and it will come free. So you can see it's just a little J-hook, hooks into a bracket down there and behind the battery, down in front of it, and that's all there is to removing the bracket. We're now ready to remove the terminals and actually pull the battery out of the truck. So, removing them, very simple, 10mm. All you have to do is loosen the terminal. You don't have to take this nut all the way off. If your terminals have bolts, you don't have to take them all the way off. All you have to do is loosen it until you can rotate it and lift it free. So, got that guy taken care of. What I'm going to do is go grab a cap from my new battery and stick it on the terminal so I don't accidentally short positive to negative. So I'm going to go do that. You'll see it pop on here, and we'll go over the positive terminal afterwards. The plastic cap is now on the negative terminal. I just pulled that off my new battery and stuck it on here for safety purposes. Any new battery should come with plastic caps on the terminals. You should be able to reuse that whenever you don't have any tape handy or anything else handy. So, final step in the process is pulling the positive terminal off. To do that on the Xterra, it has a little cover. You basically just flip that up. Mine will look a little bit different from yours. I have some aftermarket accessories that are powered off the battery installed. So I've got an extra wire here, an extra wire back there, but it'll look pretty much the same and the process will be identical. So all you need to do, again, 10mm, right there on the nut. Loosen that guy up. You can see the terminal move on the post now. And all we need to do is lift it off and get it out of the way. And at this point, the battery is ready to grab the handle and pull out. Okay, so before I put the new battery in, I just want to show you kind of the anatomy of the battery compartment, just so in case you have any questions or something looks off to you, you know what's going on. Essentially, you have this tray, plastic tray, that goes underneath the battery. That's just to catch any leakage or anything out of the battery. And then you have the actual metal battery holding compartment under there. So the battery goes inside this tray just sets in place there, and everything is right in the world. The only thing I wanted to show you is the holes for the J-hooks. So you have one here, one up towards the front, and the way that those hooks go in, they go in from the inside out, and then from the inside out on the front as well. So just so you know, orientation, everything along those lines, in case you get confused, there you go. So I'm going to go ahead and drop the battery in now and show you how to rehook everything back up. Alright, so you can see now I have the new battery dropped in. Just for reference, the old one was an Odyssey battery, lasted 9 years. New one's an Optima. I don't expect that kind of longevity out of it. Optima's quality's kind of dropped in the past few years, but I don't have anywhere super local to me that supports Odyssey batteries in the case that one were to die and I needed a warranty replacement. So I went with the thing that is a little bit easier to get a replacement for if and when it does kick the bucket. So got the battery just dropped in. First step in installation for me is removing the handle. So on Optima batteries, you can kind of just push the handle down and it removes out. And there you go. Just kind of cleans up the engine bay a little bit, something I like to do. Next step is putting on the battery shield. So assuming that you still have the OEM one somewhere, either in your garage or installed in the vehicle, you can go ahead and throw that guy on. It should just kind of sit around the battery, just below the surface, so you kind of just got to push it down, press it into place. The reason you want to keep this, if at all possible, is because it helps prevent abrasion from the little J-hooks that run along the front and the back from abrading the battery. So it's just a nice little shield that's there. It's a nice thing to have. So at this point, we're basically ready to hook the battery up. So what we can do is go ahead and install the positive terminal, install the negative terminal, and then either before or after that, install the brackets. Now, me personally, because this battery is not hooked up, I'm going to go ahead and install the brackets just to negate any and all possibility of a short. Installation is basically the reverse of removal. You just drop the J-hooks down into place, twist them into the little holes, and then tighten the nuts. So you'll just want to make sure that it's tightened evenly, and I'll go through that in a minute after I've installed the J-hooks. Again, it's a little bit fiddly, and I kind of have to get where the camera is in order to see what I'm doing. So I'm going to go ahead, install those guys, come back, and show you the tightening procedure and the rest of the installation. Okay, got the bracket back into place, and just snug down. It's not tight. You can see the battery still moves. Essentially what you want to do is alternate tightening on either side until everything is tight enough that the battery doesn't move whenever you shake it, which is right about there. But not so tight that you crack the case of the battery. You have to be kind of careful about that. AGM batteries, lead acid batteries, doesn't matter. They can crack if you tighten the bracket too tight. So now that I've got it that tight, give it a little bit extra just to make sure it doesn't come loose. Double check, and we're ready to install the terminals, or terminals onto the posts. So super easy. Should just be able to grab them, pull them over, set down into place, and there's the positive terminal right on. And we may need to do a little bit of adjusting to get the cover on and everything. That's to be expected. But it looks like, no, we are good to go on that one. Fantastic. So, negative terminals last a little bit. This guy should just pop right on. You might see a little spark depending on how everything's set up in your vehicle and what state it was in whenever you left it. But at this stage, negative terminals tightened, positive terminals tightened, brackets tightened, batteries in place, and we are good to go. So that's all there is to a battery change. Super simple, super straightforward, but I wanted to outline the process for anybody with an Xterra who may be new to working on cars, or maybe new to working with batteries specifically, maybe scared of the battery system, anything along those lines, just to kind of help out. So with that, I want to thank you all for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.